Hello YouTube fam, how y'all doing? It's your Uncle Tim. This is Uncle Tim Rants and Reviews, a channel where I rant and I review. I'm your host, Uncle Tim. Fam, a lot of you all ask me, if buying a house right now is not in the cards for you, won't you rent a home? It might be cheaper. I thought about that particular situation, and that's what we thought about in the beginning. With a lot of the houses that we looked at, man, they were being snatched up so quick after we even looked at them, bro. At first it was a seller's market and houses were just flying, you know, just just leaving quick, bro. It was just no inventory. Plus, you had like people waiving inspections and all type of stuff just to get the home, paying 50,000 over asking or even 100,000 over asking. We did not plan on doing any of that nonsense, bro. I look at it just like this. Right now, that's what the market was looking like. But now, shit is kind of sitting right now because people are starting to say the economy is not basically good anymore. Buying a house may be a bad idea. This video is not about that. This video is about if, okay, anywhere we say mortgages are anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000. That's just real talk right there. Within the city of Chicago and the surrounding suburbs, yeah, you probably could get something for cheaper, but you're gonna be in a horrible area. And I'm looking at this, in order to rent a house is from $2,000 to $3,000. You'll be paying for the same things that you were paying for before. Everything that you was paying for with that house that you would have bought, you'd be paying for when you're renting, and you're getting nothing out of it. Bro, I looked at that situation and I was like, people were saying, well, you can rent the house for $2,000. You got these ads, you got these listings, and we were looking at them, $2,000, right? But you got to pay all the utilities and everything. Water, we pay the water. And I'm like, what? That means garbage, blah, 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 blah. You got to pay for every damn thing. And I'm sitting there thinking, all that shit adds up. It's not an apartment anymore. This is a house. Houses have different heating rules, bro. You got to heat the whole damn house. What happens when the house floods? You got to look at all this shit, bro. I was looking at everything and I was doing the math and it just didn't math. I said, man, we better off just renting an apartment. And plus with homes, bro, you got to be very, very, very careful. I noticed homes and condos, you got to be truly careful. Townhomes, anytime that a specific individual owns something, you got to be very careful because a lot of times people rent stuff out when they're in a bind. They already behind, and the property might get seized. I'm not saying it's some sort of scam or nothing like that. What happens is, say for instance, their mortgage originally was $1,000 or $1,500. They rent the place out for $3,000, right? So in effect, they're basically paying down what they owe over the course of that year. We just say even 10 months. Think about it. 3,000 times 10 is $30,000. Plus 2 more months, that's $36,000. Whatever you was in a hole for, you done got yourself out the hole for. Even with renting homes, you get a lease too, just like you do with apartments. Dude, people, after you done paid off all the shit that they were in a hole for, they want to come back now. Now you're looking at it just like this. You didn't have an apartment where you're moving out of. You got a house where you're moving out of. After you done bought all the stuff for the whole house, you moving this shit out now. You sitting here thinking like, damn, I done help get somebody else and pay down their shit. Bro, it's the same damn thing. You thinking like, man, I'm paying for somebody else's property with a, renting an apartment. You doing the same thing with a house. What you thought you was doing? You ain't getting no equity out of that. Dude, you are in a dire situation. Either way it go. Renting sometimes is a hassle, man. I was looking at the flooding issues that we've been having lately here in Chicago, man, and how people constantly have to pay to get their basements fixed, bro. It ain't, I don't give a damn how much a proper, equipment you got down there. You got some pumps. Some people Well, like, man, I got 2 damn sump pumps down there, man, just to. I'm like, it flood that much? No, man, I'm just making sure. Then, I got vents down there for, the sewage to go out of on the side and this and that. And I'm listening. Man, we still flooded. We had like a damn foot of water. He was saying, like, that's 12 inches. I'm thinking, like, damn, that's like the size of this monster back here. I'm like, damn, like, dude, I'm like, your outlets are on the floor. And he was like, you see my point. He said they had to cut the power, then go down there and drain the water. He said, I wasn't going down there. And I was thinking to myself, he said, do you know how much that costs? He said, the insurance paid for a fraction, but he said after a certain period of time, the insurance don't want to pay it. They trying to blame you for it. You blaming me for the rain? Like, man, I was thinking to myself, I said, man, are we ready for that? And one of my friends during the storm, his roof got damaged, man. My tree fell on his roof and just tore that motherfucker up, man. He had to get it fixed. The insurance paid for a portion. They didn't pay for all of it. But see, this is the stuff that I talk about. People make it seem like, everything is like, oh man, everything is good with a house. You don't got to worry about nothing. You got to worry about every damn thing, bro. Even when you renting a house, you got to worry about every damn thing, man. You got to look at everything because, I'm one of those people. My wife is like, man, those sliding glass doors on this place look amazing, on the house, on the listing. I said, I don't like that. I said, man, sliding glass doors, that's a problem. Oh, why is it a problem? I said, man, you can get right in those. Just throw a rock straight through them. You right in. I said, that's the situation in itself. I said, I want a door. Oh, man, but that don't, I wouldn't want a whole mansion with a lot of glass, bro. That's just waiting. Shit, if anything happened, how would, come on, man. Dude, man, I'm looking at everything. Trying to make it make sense, man. And that's what I've been doing for the longest. Trying to make a lot of shit make sense. I know sometimes this stuff don't look like it makes sense, and you hear me bitching and moaning about the economy, jobs, and I think a lot of people say, hey man, you must be going through something hellified. No, everybody got something they going through. You said, well, no, it's not. It's just probably just you. I ain't going through nothing. Dude, we all going through something, but we not all going through the same damn thing. I think people misunderstand. If one person going through this, you may not be going through that. You could be going through health issues. You could be going through relationship issues, family issues. You could be going through any damn thing. And it's different from what the other person going through. And you got a few people dealing with the same damn thing. That's just life, man. You got people dealing with their homes, insurance not covering, acts of God and things like. Look at all those people who lost their home in that fire. And those fires that was those wildfires and things like that. Tornado Alley. Look at all those people that lost their home. Just look at everything, man. People are going through things. People got health crisis, diagnoses, and every damn thing, bro. People got, situations where they want to have kids, where they trying to go over there and get IVF and everything. It's just so much. But people make it seem like nobody's going through nothing. Man, that's just you. I'm just sitting here chilling. I'm doing everything I want to. I ain't got no problems. That's a damn lie. Bro, even the person that, guy was like, man, I know what, he was younger. He said, man, I know, man, if you had it any other way, you'll switch lives with what you call it. I said, no, I'm good. He said, why you say that? He's like, that guy rich, he's successful. I said, you don't know what the fuck you going through. I said, just because somebody rich and successful don't mean that they're not going through nothing. I said, people go through stuff every day, but the thing is, you don't see it because you too busy looking at the glitz and glamour. That's what we do. We look at the glitz and glamour. We don't look at all the, the subtle nuances and all that other stuff what people be going through, man. Like, oh, man, he can't even afford a home. You know what? Like I said, even a $350,000 home, that's about the cheapest you gonna get in a good area. And people make it seem like that by itself is like nothing. Bruh, I'm confused. What are y'all expecting? Are y'all expecting somebody to be out here, fronting, man? No, I'm realistic with what I'm talking about. When I talk to people about, they want to start automotive channels, where they go out and get cars and stuff like that. They said they want to be the next Stradman. And I said, you know what? I said, start off with what you can. I said, if you can't afford going to get a Lamborghini, try to get something closer. I said, get you a Nissan 300ZX, a 1985 Chevy Camaro, or a Pontiac Firebird from that year or something. I said, get something that you can see starting out on. It ain't about changing the world. You can just show off what you doing. Man, see, people want to see real. They don't want to see fake shit. People don't want to see nothing they can't afford. I'm not one of those people that want to see something that I can't, possibly get. I don't want to see a corno sig, man. Come on. I'm just being honest, man, because I know, just being honest, that's not in the realm of reality for me. A Bugatti, not in the realm of reality. You show me a Lamborghini, yeah. A Porsche, yeah. A Ferrari, yeah. You can see those because you like, okay. You can see Maserati and all of that. You can see those Bentleys, Aston Martins. You can see that. But when you start going with those hypercars and things like that are like $1 million and hard to insure, and even if something break on it, you gotta hurry up and get it fixed. The car always got engine lights on. That ain't what you trying to do when you starting out. You trying to start from a certain point, man, and see people are not getting that. Everybody wants to be the best. People don't want to crawl first. You gotta crawl before you walk. And people out here are trying to walk first. And this is what I'm talking about with the home. You gotta crawl. You gotta crawl with the apartment first until the home come along. You may not be in the right spot. You may not be where you're supposed to be yet. 30 years is a long ass time, to be locked into something. And people talk, well, you could always sell. Sometimes you can't sell. Sometimes nobody's willing to buy. You ever tried to sell anything that you had that you no longer wanted? You can't even get somebody to buy half of the shit you don't want. Why? Because you don't want it. And you trying to get somebody else to get it. Like, man, why can't they get it, man? I don't want this no more. Because you don't want it. And everybody looking at it, if you don't want it, what's wrong with it? I don't want it. And I'm looking around here just thinking to myself, maybe that's the whole thing. Buying things, man, is not always what you think it is. Man, it's peaceful to own your own home. And, I get it. It is. But it's peaceful to own a home that you can see owning. Something that's of value, man. I don't want anything where you moving in, man, shit is broken. It's a fixer-upper. Man, I don't want to live in that. I don't want to have to put too much into anything, man. I already work as much as I can now. Why would I want to come home and work? Dude, it'd be just too much. See, for me, that ain't my thing. And I'm going to say it again. That's for people who want that. Everybody always tell you about how to do things, man. That's just not the way I'm living right now. That's just not the way I want it. Man, I want it the way I want it. And I'm just being honest, man. I'm trying to sit here and talk about to everybody how to do certain things, man. And this is what I'm getting. I'm getting what I'm given, man. You know what? If that price range is not in my budget, well, move outside of Chicago. You could go buy a house in Indiana for this price. Yes, I can. But I still have to travel back to Chicago to work. Having a job in Indiana, just being honest, is not always what you think it is. You remember the cost of living in Indiana is real cheap. And if the cost of living is cheap, trust me, the wages are just about the same thing. Yeah, I could go buy a house for cheaper, yes. But I'm going to be taxed double. I'm taxed for living in Indiana, then I'm taxed for working in Chicago. Yeah, they're going to hit me with that. And guess what? That ain't a good look. So, yeah, you got to think about all that stuff, man. It sounds good in theory, rent a house, that's just cheaper. No, it's cheaper to buy a damn storage unit. Why? Because, again, at the end of the day, when you done with it, that's it. Most storage units you own a month-for-month basis, bro. That's it. You can do it as long as you want, man. You could prepay. You could prepay for damn near 2 years if you want. But you know what? If you ain't seen that stuff in over a year, it's just not what it is. Man, just thoughts, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section, man. I hope this clears up a lot of things. This is not me spitting on you or, you know, or not, you know, understanding what you're saying. I think a lot of people don't get what I'm saying. I think a lot of people, oh man, he's just making excuses. No, bro, there are pros and cons to everything. You got to look at everything before you go up and doing something. It ain't as easy as you think it is. You know, oh man, I could do this and this ain't gonna be no damn problem. See, Unc just, you know, he just Unc. He doing way too much and he don't understand. I understand. Sometimes things are not what you think they are, man. You know, like I said, I sit here and I do what I do, man. And you know what? I gotta understand. Shit is bigger than me. It ain't always about me. And I gotta get past that. You know, would a home be much better? Maybe. Maybe even more cluttered. When you got more space, you buy more shit. It's just the way it works, man. I don't know. I'm not really tied to any damn thing. You know, I could get rid of every damn thing and not really be upset. I start all over again. Dude, that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. You know, you got to do what you got to do. And just keep that in mind. You know, homes are great investments. But, you know, with anything, you're looking for a return. A home is an investment that you're looking for a return on. And, most times people look, and be like, man, I'm going to leave this to this person. I'm going to leave my home to that person. Dude, that ain't what I'm looking at. I'm not looking to buy a house to leave it to some damn body. When me and my wife buy a home, it's for us. Man, what about your kids? Them grown-ass men. Dude, they going to do what they do. Hell, if neither one of us left and the home is there, you sell it and do whatever you do with it. But, something happened to me, it's my wife's house. Something happened to her, it's my house. It's just what it is, bro. You live your life. I have so many friends who significant other pass away, and the kids talk about, yeah, you know what, we gonna sell the house, and you looking like, how you gonna sell my home? Well, it's my father's home. Your father didn't have no job. Your father didn't pay no damn bills here. How's it his house? His name ain't even on the damn house. He just lived there. Bro, you got to get your facts straight. See, people be trying to come in and get a payday out of shit, bro. See, this is why, I stay away from people when things are happening. It's just like people ask you, man, if I won the lottery right now, guy said, man, if I won a lottery right now, how many people would you tell? I asked him, how many people would he tell? He told me, all the people he would tell, I do this for this person, that for that person. He said, man, who would you tell? He said, man, I know you would tell everybody. I said, tell my wife. What about your kids? I said, shit, and I ain't telling them. I said, man, if you doing good where you at now and you ain't needing my help, bro, you good where you at. I said, it's not me being me. I said, I'm not creating dependency, bro. I said, just like this. I said, if me and my wife move, that's what it is. If you need my help one day, maybe we'll help you, bro. But I'm not one of those people that, create, dependence, bro. You got to be independent in this world. Something happened to me, it's a prime example, man. You look at it like this. Well, something happened to my mom. I'm going to stay with my grandparents. Or, I'm going to stay with this person and that person. All those people end up passing away. And you like, wait, hold on. That's how life works, bro. You out here like that. You got to have a damn fallback for a fallback. People tell you to have a rainy day fund and a emergency fund. What happens when the emergency take the rainy day fund and the emergency fund? People make it seem like, but see, you supposed to have like 10,000 in the emergency fund and you supposed to have 50,000 in the rainy day fund. I'm like, what the hell do you people work at that you could do this? Like, you get like that $100,000 between funds. You ain't even got a house or nothing. You just got funds everywhere. Just in case this happens. Dude, I don't have a just in case job. A job on the side that pay just in case money if shit happen. I don't got that. I don't understand how all of y'all can afford to do all that. And man, this is not me beating on anybody, but damn, come on, man. I hear people say some astronomical shit like, man, are you even thinking about what you saying? Or are you just saying some shit, man? I think about everything that I'm saying, man, because I'm like, man, I don't know what the hell is about to happen tomorrow. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with the job situations, man. Jobs are closing. They downsizing, man. They restructuring. They going bankrupt, man. Places that been around since the dawn of damn time are leaving. But yet instead, we sitting here thinking, oh man, ain't nothing changing. Dude, a lot of people that watch sometimes don't look at the news, bruh. It ain't just the news. You gotta listen to other people who going through some shit. And bruh, I don't understand, like I said before, not everybody going through the same damn thing. Everybody got some sort of issue. Even the person that say, oh man, see, I ain't going through nothing. It's going through something. But they not going through the exact same thing. See, that's the thing. Everybody think when you going through something, it's about money. It ain't always about money. Money is something simple to get back. Your health, your emotional well-being, uh, you know, just you being safe. You can't get none of that shit back. Bro, you going through some shit. I see people sometimes, dude, yes, I could buy a house that costs $20,000. I know a houses cost $20,000. But the area is so fucking bad, bro. It is worse than a hell, bro. And people like, man, no, I'm going to get there and I'm going to talk to people and we going to start a community thing. And, I'm like, all right. Got out there, motherfucker. It was so damn bad. Hear this motherfucker hollering every night about how bad it is and how he got to, damn near walk around with a gun. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? I said, man, but I said, you thinking just because you buy a cheap house, you gonna be safe, bro? That ain't how it work. You put security cameras on your house, people think you hiding something. He got all type of money. He's selling drugs. He got a safe in there that we could rob. You like, the hell are you thinking? This is a bad area. This is why he got all that shit. I don't give a damn what color you are. There are bad areas in no matter where you at. There are bad Asian communities, bad black communities, bad Hispanic neighborhoods, bad white neighborhoods. Shit is what it is, bro. And this is what I'm talking about. It's just real. And it's just like people don't look at that. It's just like, oh man, I'm going to just go do this and I'm going to be okay. No, sit down. If you can't afford something right now, if something ain't where you need it to be right now, just sit down. It will fix itself later. If it's meant for you to have, you will have it. But right now, I'm going to tell you, don't go running trying to get it. Leave that shit where it's at, man. Leave it where it's at. Live your best life. Stop rushing to, make debt for yourself. People be out here trying to get into debt so hard. Man, well, I got a loan big enough, so I bought the house. And, we got the cars within the loan for the house. And we got this and that with the house, and we were able to do this and other stuff for that. I'm like, damn, okay, that's pretty cool. I'm like, all of this stuff was bought with that loan. Okay, I get it. At the end of the day, bro, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to call it or what to do. I just sit here and say sometimes you just need to do what you need to do, bro. Make it make sense. A lot of times shit don't make sense whatsoever. People look at you like, you supposed to be more. I expect more from him. He's not understanding what we're doing here. I understand. I think a lot of people don't comprehend that you're not stupid. That you're not gonna get out here and overextend yourself. Man, I don't want to be house poor. People paying $5,000 a month to live in a house. I'm like, you playing? I'm like, my thing is, if you make six figures, that's not even reasonable for that. Why? Because you need more than just that. Your house note, your mortgage is $5,000 a month, bro. You need to get somewhere where you got 2 or 3. Just keeping it real, man. A lot of people ain't gonna see this. A lot of people don't think it's me throwing shade or hate. I don't have nothing. I don't want nothing. And this is the reason why, a lot of people don't like talking to me because I'm just too much. I think I know better. Bruh, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. You don't have to know better. But when shit is bad, you don't need to know how bad it can get. Just remember that. If you ain't learned nothing from me, you don't need to know how bad it can get. Don't say, man, it can't get worse than this. Yes, it can. Shit, it can get triple times worse. But to later, fam, thank you for watching. Peace out.